Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
Still Thunder in 5, Mike?
Thunder in 5, baby. Spurs in 5, Thunder in 5.
Oh, my God.
Dude, Little Red Barn, dude. We got to talk about whether that's a good or a bad place.
It used to be good.
Used to.
Back in the day, just like that old, was it the Hungry Farmer?
Yeah,
Hungry
Drive. Farmer.
That used to be good down, back in the day. But now, kind of looking a little faded there, Mike.
Is Bud Jones overrated?
Bud Jones has okay food, man. I mean, like, I went there this year, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Not bad at all.
What about Don Pedro's? We're talking South Side food.
I even went to Don Pedro's. I took my mom and my sister and my tia out there to Don Pedro's. Don Pedro's delivered for breakfast, bro.
Well, you don't know what side of the restaurant you're going to get on. Are you going to get the new side or are you going to get the OG side of Don Pedro's?
I was sitting on the OG side. I told them that.
Pretty decent bar out there.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, man. Not bad at all. You know who else has a decent bar, low-key, that people kind of dismiss? Mi Tierra.
I've never drank there.
Mi Tierra has a nice bar.
I always see it because you have to go there to go to the restroom. If you don't want to go to the one in the back,
yep,
you go there. Wow.
So they have a nice bar area, right? And then you can go and, have a couple of drinks. Or if you're in Market Square and you're walking up and down and you don't want to do all the shopping with your girl or what have you, you want to get away with the fellas, just pop into Mi Tierra, go have a couple drinks, get some mezcal at the bar. It's a nice bar, man.
Nice. Let's get the show going.
Welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast to you live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We go about an hour and a half talking sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. This is the time of the day where local sports talk radio goes dark, right? San Antonio Sports Star, Ticket 760 goes dark. They go to national syndication, right? So you come to us at Area 210. You go to In the Building with Rudy J and Mike Taylor to get that sports talk, right? That local flavor when it comes to sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. We're fresh off of Father's Day. Hope everyone had a fantastic Father's Day weekend. That's right, Joe. I said weekend because we did it in the Jimenez household. How was your Father's Day, sir?
It was good, man. Like I said, I was spending the whole weekend with the kids, went out to eat. Went to that BJ's Brew House, man, and that was good, man. I went there with the kids, had a great time. Even went to go see Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the OG, yesterday at the Flicks Brew House. So that was cool, man. My son, my oldest, had never seen it in the theater. He's seen the movie, but he's like, hey, that was a good film, Dad. He's like, it was pretty good experiencing it in the theater. And they also got me this nice cowboy hat that I can add to the collection, So that was a good
weekend. Very nice. We had a Father's Day weekend. We got together Saturday night in San Antonio, went to Umberto's Italian and hung out there. And then on last night, we went to Little Red Barn and it started pouring, man, the second we got there. They used to have that carport area where you could drop people off, but they don't have that anymore, right? It's still there, but they've cut it off. But went out there, had dinner, had a fantastic time with my dad. Got to hang out with Chica, my kids. Little Ava, my daughter, is now with me for the summer. So that's pretty cool. I took custody of her for the summer. So nice. She's here. But it's going to be a fun time, man. We'll be in the Dominican Republic on Friday. So we're going to have a guest host on Friday of this week. Let's see if we can get LG or if we can get Spernandez to come on. Dude, everyone was laughing in my family about Spernandez's comments the other day because he was like, man, Joe was having a moment there where he was honoring his mom by saying that. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, thanks to my mom for working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table for us, because my mom and dad had both gotten divorced when I was younger. So I said, shout out to the single moms holding it down for everybody, and shout out to the dads too. I didn't miss the discount the dads for being present.
The number of people who said that Fernandez and I were jackasses was pretty high.
Yeah,
they're like, dude, Joe was having a moment, man. Let him have that moment. And we were like, nah, dog, that ain't it, man. Father's Day is for fathers only.
It is, man, but you can't discount the single moms too, doing their thing to keep, the family household going as well. Sometimes the dads dip out, and that's all I was saying. Hey, shout out to the moms as well.
All right. Hey, big show today, man. We have a lot of movement going on in the NBA. Dude, I heard it all weekend, and it made absolutely no sense to me, okay? Because there was that big trade over the weekend. The Memphis Grizzlies sent out Desmond Bane, who's a very good player, to the Orlando Magic for a haul. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, decent player. Cole Anthony, all right, he was a lottery player back in the day. 4 first-round picks and a pick swap. And all I heard on social media this past weekend was, Joe, the deal for Kevin Durant just got richer. That if you want to have KD, you need to pony up because look at what Orlando spent for Desmond Bane. Joe, how do I break it to people that one thing does not relate to the other?
It's like this. So let's say you go and you buy a used car, right?
Right.
And you and your buddy want the same used car, right? Say you want to go and get a Corvette, right? Really nice Corvette, but you don't want to have to pay the full retail sticker price. One buddy goes out and man, I couldn't pass up this deal. It was a great car, color, everything I wanted. And you go to another dealership and you go and get the same car, but your buddy overpaid. Who's the dummy?
Right. Exactly. If someone buys a house at an outrageous price in your neighborhood, that doesn't suddenly make your house that valuable. Okay? Because just because one person's a sucker doesn't mean there's another sucker in the room. One trade does not correlate to the other trade. It really doesn't, because it's all about who is going after Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Who is going after him? And right now, according to Shams Charania of ESPN, it's the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Heat that have lined up for Kevin Durant. That Kevin Durant wants those 3 teams, right? Up to 8 teams have said that they've kicked the tires, right? The 3 teams are where Kevin Durant wants to go. Suddenly, because Desmond Bane got 4 picks in a swap, you're going to say, well, the Spurs now have to include the number 2 pick, and they need to include Sohan. They need to include this and the other. No, they don't. Because Phoenix is either going to trade Kevin Durant or they're not. And if they're motivated to trade Kevin Durant, they're going to trade them for what? The best offer available. That's it.
And you know what?
And if the best offer is less than what Memphis gave up for Desmond Bane, or got in return for Desmond Bane, rather, then it doesn't exist.
And check this out, Mike. It seems like Phoenix is now starting to change their tune a little bit, right? They're like, oh, Kevin Durant's preferred destinations. I'm like, F that, dude. If you're an NBA team like the Phoenix Suns, why the hell would you care about a player's feelings if they want to get traded? These are my preferred destinations. Make it happen here at one of these 3 teams. F that, dude. We're going to get the best that we can get for you in return. And whether that's going to ship you off to Toronto, or somewhere else that you're not going to want to play, you're not going to want to play for a bad team. Who cares? At the end of the day, if you get a haul for Kevin Durant, you pull the trigger on that, and he doesn't like it, F his feelings.
Well, that cuts both ways, Joe, because you're both right and wrong when it comes to that. You're right in the sense that the Phoenix Suns own his rights, and they can do whatever they want to do. They want to send him to the Indiana Pacers, if they want to send him to the Milwaukee Bucks, if they want to send him to the smallest of small markets, they have every right to do so. The thing is that it's bad business. It's bad business because you want players to go to your team. You want free agents to come to your team. And if you do that to Durant, there's not going to be another star that's going to want to go to Phoenix, right? Because they go over there.
Really want to go to Phoenix now?
Well, I mean, Phoenix is a great city to be in.
But I'm saying the team. I mean, do you really want to go to Phoenix?
Either way, dude, a city like Phoenix, an organization like the Suns, can reinvent themselves pretty much on the fly. Okay, yeah. It takes the city of San Antonio a decade to recover from Tim Duncan retiring.
Yeah, but
Right,
Phoenix
Kawhi Leonard leading.
Phoenix is going through a fire sale right now. They want to get
They
rid
are.
of everything, you
But
know?
they're going to reload within a couple of years. It's not going to be a decade-long process
Exactly.
to make it
What's
happen.
attractive to Phoenix right now? Probably first-round picks.
Yeah. Picks and apparently some players to play. You know, some players that are going to have some sort of impact and have and swallow up some minutes. But Kevin Durant, I mean, I understand that it's kind of sus, right? When you see all these players, you saw that with LeBron James, you saw that with other players who say, "I want to go in a certain direction." Look at De'Aaron Fox. We got De'Aaron Fox for 10 cents on the dollar. Why? Because he wanted to come to San Antonio. He didn't give Sacramento any leeway. He was like, "I want to go there." Why did Sacramento trade De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs? Because they got something in return, at least a little something. They got Zach LaVine and some picks. But beyond all that, they want players to come to Sacramento. And if a star player looks at Sacramento and says, "Man, De'Aaron Fox said he wanted to go in this direction," and you shipped him out to the middle of nowhere, what did the Spurs do? The Spurs shipped out Kawhi Leonard, not to any team he wanted to go to. They shipped him out where? To Toronto, right?
Freeze his ass off.
Who won that battle?
Oh, he won because he obviously got him a chip.
He won the chip, and he got to go where he wanted to go to begin with, which is LA.
Yeah, but what's
right?
happened to him after that?
What has happened to the Spurs after that?
Yeah, but I'm saying it works both ways.
What free agents have the Spurs gotten since then? Not a damn player.
De'Aaron Fox.
That's not a free agent. That was a trade.
That's a trade, yeah. So
and his wife happened to be from San Antonio.
The last free agent that the Spurs acquired, big free agent, when it came to going out and getting somebody in free agency, LaMarcus Aldridge.
That's the only one. And the Spurs, the organization treated him right. They really did. But that was how long ago was that, man? That was a decade ago.
Yeah, and he couldn't play under Coach Pop. He didn't like playing for Coach Pop because even after a year or two that he was with the team, he went over there into the office and he's like, "Coach Pop, I want to be traded." You know? He's like, "I want to be traded." He said, "Nah, you're gonna finish out your contract. We're gonna go ahead and cater to your style of play, blah, 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 you know, keep him happy," because he wasn't happy. But at the end of the day, these players are tradable assets. You have to be able to get your feelings out of the equation. I don't care if they throw a fit or it's bad for business. What's good for business is you getting the best possible haul you can for Kevin Durant. You know what a player was attractive to a player beyond, "Oh, you're going to treat me right"? Winning. If you have an opportunity to win a chip with said team and they're like, "You know what? You're a tradable asset and we're going to go ahead and get the best out of you." And just because we traded Kevin Durant to one of his non-preferred destinations, fuck him, dude. If you're going to come in and you're going to go ahead and win a chip with said team, are you going to care what they did to Kevin Durant? No.
Yes, you do care, man. You do care because we talked about this last week about how Clutch Sports is apparently so involved with their players that they're facilitating these trades, right? And if you want to sign a Clutch Sports guy or a CCA guy, dude, these things are a mafia type of organizations, man. They're one for all for one. The idea that these guys have these Jerry Maguire type of agents who are going to do what's best for the client, what's the best for the team, and try to get the best of both worlds and all that stuff doesn't exist. It's about shoe companies and it's about these agencies that represent these players, Joe.
Well, if he doesn't like
the 80s, it's not the 80s anymore. And you can't say if you don't like it, go kick rocks. You can't. Because if you're an organization that wants to get free agents down the road and you want to get a clutch player, you got to treat the clutch player right.
No, you got to send a message. You got to send a message.
There's no effing message.
I'm tired of coddling these fucking players. If you don't like it here in the NBA, go to the Shanghai Sharks then. Get out of here.
Then the Spurs or whoever organization does that becomes the Shanghai Sharks. You don't want to be blackballed in the NBA, Joe. That's exactly what you do is you blackball yourself. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's just the world that we live in, Joe. There ain't no messages. There ain't no Chuck Dailies of the world. There's no Larry Browns. Grant Popovich was the last of the Mohicans when it comes to being jackass head coaches.
We want to keep the players happy and coddled because if you built the new Spurs arena down there with the Project Marvel debacle, ain't nobody going to come and see the team because they're going to be losing. Is that what you're saying? We got to keep these star players happy and cuddled, and make them happy and do everything we can, bend over backwards for them. That's like them holding a gun to the freaking San Antonio Spurs organization. If you don't do this for me, I'm leaving. The kid that comes to play basketball with his own basketball. If you don't pick me first, I'm leaving with the ball so no one can play. Fuck you, man.
That's the world we live in, Joe. You can get all mad all about it all you want. At the end of the day, they live in my world. They don't live in the world that you're living in right now. By the way, your camera just switched over, Joe. But you look at it this way, Joe. The NBA is an actual collective. It's an actual agreement between the players and the coaches. Half the profits go to the owners. Half the profits go to the players. It is truly a compromise. So the players are in it just as much as the owners. So it's not one of those things where it's like, I mean, baseball is probably the worst one for the player, right? Baseball, man, they'll screw the baseball player over all like crazy, man. They'll ship him out to the middle of nowhere. No big deal for a minor league player, right? Basketball is truly a collective between the players and the ownership. So the players do run things, Joe. It is a player-run organization. And City of San Antonio doesn't know this because we're so used to Tim, Tony, and Manu. Tim, Tony, and Manu, they were all like, they were all good guys who, well, maybe Tony wasn't, but they were all like, they were all players that were all organization first and loyalty and all that stuff. That crap don't exist anywhere else in the NBA, Joe. Oh, your audio's out, Joe. Can't hear you, Joe. Can we hear Joe? I'm gonna get out and get back in, Joe. Hey, Joe, man, I can't hear you, brother. Can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up if you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you at all, man. I'm going to bounce out and bounce back in.
Is that better, Mike?
Yes, it is. There you go, brother.
All right, let me fix the resolution. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think we're having trouble with the actual platform right now, but the bugs got worked out now.
Sam Slidge reaches out and says, Mike sabotaged Joe because Joe is on team F their feelings.
Yeah, F their feelings, man. I don't
It's
care.
bad business, Joe. You want to have players, right? You have to be a player-friendly place. Do you think a free agent player wants to come to a team that is known as F your feelings? No, they don't. What fantasy world do you live in, Joe, where it's the 1970s?
That's why I'm not a GM.
They're smoking cigarettes in the locker room at halftime.
That's why I'm not an NBA GM, because I'd be like, you know what? You want to come to team fuck your feelings and you want to win a chip? We're their destination.
Well, they're going to say, well, we're not going to go to team fuck your feelings because we're not going to win a chip because there's not going to be anybody there, Joe.
You know what? There's other players in the league that probably have that same moniker too. You know what? We're tired of these freaking crybabies, man. You know what? We want to go play for Joe. And Mike will be like, you want me to go give you a pedicure? Do you need another water?
That's what they need, baby. That's what they need. That's what they need. It's the world that we live in, Joe. You can argue and complain about it all day long. It's the world that we live in. But here's the thing, Joe. Right now we're talking about Kevin Durant. And so many Spurs players fans are in their feelings right now about it all. They're in their feelings because they're like, Kevin Durant is so old. He's 36, 37 years old. I understand the Spurs not wanting to give him a long-term deal. That makes sense. If it's for a couple of years, guess what? Kevin Durant, right now, year 2025, or as Mike Taylor would say, in the year of our Lord 2025, is a top 10, top 15 player in the NBA. So you're going to say that you don't want to give up Sohan for a top 10 player for the next 2 years?
No.
Get the F out of here. Get the F out of here.
Sohan. Let's get rid of Cardio, Champagne, Bassi. But you know what? That's not going to cut it. You're going
You know what's going to happen this year, Joe?
Vassell and Keldon.
You know what's going to happen this year, Joe? I already know what's going to happen.
What?
Sohan going to get hurt. And we're all going to have that conversation that we have about Devin Vassell, which is what? Is this an injury-prone player?
Why do you always have to bring in Sohan? He's like your favorite whipping boy, bro. Like you always got to bring him in like the dog that's outside that when he shit somewhere in the yard, you get mad at, he shits right. I don't always shit outside, but when I do, I shit on the corner of the freaking patio. And you're like, you goddamn dog, you go over there and gonna knock the shit out of him. That's Sohan, dude.
It reminds me of Chris Rock. Chris Rock has this one comedy special where he's asking women. He's like, he's telling guys, does your woman ever just look at you and just has a disgusted look at you? And the reason why they're looking at you is because you're in their home. At the end of the day, you weren't their first choice, right? That's the look that they're giving you, right? They wish they had been with somebody else. I look at Sohan, I think to myself, I wish you were Jalen Williams. The next forward that was taken in that draft. I wish you were Jalen Williams. I look at Sohan, I think to myself, it's going to take 6 or 7 years to polish this kid off. By the way, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 has a new video of yet another 15-second clip of Jeremy Sohan knocking down threes in front of nobody in his chones. By the way, what I thought was funny over the weekend, was all these rumors around Kevin Durant coming true. Because before on Thursday, we were like, man, Vegas odds say that the Spurs are going to get Kevin Durant. Here's Sohan. I say chones because it looks like he's at the combine. I mean, he's knocking down shots. The form doesn't look better. Get a defender in front of him. We'll see if the form looks better. It's an open gym, dude. It's an empty gym. I don't get excited about these videos at all.
There's that Elaine hitch still, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So here's the thing, Joe. On Thursday, we had a conversation about how we were the odds-on favorite to win the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, right? Vegas had us at minus 160, which basically meant like a 75% chance. Then on Friday, it was like, no, that's not the thing. There's a new report coming out saying that Brooklyn, new report saying that Miami, that Houston are the top teams giving the most talent away. Maybe they'll give away Terry Eason and 2 or 3 other players, Suggs or whomever, right?
Check out where he's practicing at, Mike. You see the logo? You
Arizona State.
It? Arizona. Why is he over there?
Well, that was the thing, is that they were like, it was funny because so let's fast forward to Saturday. Saturday was a new report from Shams Charania saying that in fact San Antonio was on the request of Kevin Durant, right? It was going to be Houston, San Antonio, or Miami. So now the pendulum swung the other way, and now we're talking about the Spurs being one of the favorites again to get Kevin Durant. And it just so happens that we see video on Instagram of Jeremy Sohan in Phoenix, of all places, because apparently he's practicing with the Polish national team.
Yeah.
And they've chose Phoenix as their practice site. But it was kind of funny because it was like, wait a minute, is he house hunting? Is he looking for a condo there in Phoenix? Land of the rising sun? Is that what he's doing?
He was saying that he needed somebody in Phoenix that could braid hair,
Yeah.
So he guess he wanted some cornrows or something, man. And we do got an incoming super chat from TexMex Frank.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Thank you, TexMex Frank. We appreciate you, man. He's the man behind Come Smoke It Apparel. Everybody likes the Texican hats. This is the guy that you need to get in contact with to go ahead and get you a Texican hat. He's saying appreciation coffee. Thank you, Tex-Mex Frank. Appreciate you, man.
Very nice, man. Tex-Mex Frank, thank you so much for that. Dude, untouchable Spurs players, Joe. Wemby,
Castle.
Harper.
Wemby, Castle, everybody else, they can go, man. I hate to get rid of
Wemby, Harper, and Fox are the only untouchable players on the team.
I'd hate to get rid of the Toyota Corolla, though, man.
Yeah, Castle, I'm not saying that I would want to get... Castle's nearly untouchable. Nearly untouchable. But, Joe, if I had to give a choice between you saying, Jimenez, your GM, you had to give up for a Giannis, for example, either Harper or Castle. I'd be like, Castle, man, do you need help packing up that trophy? And that's my son. But you know who else is my son? Dylan Harper is my son. My goodness, man. Brian Wright's the luckiest GM in the NBA right now.
What is it? What does Fernandez say? If it ain't right, it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah, it's
but
right.
You know what? This motherfucker hasn't done anything other than just pick the most obvious choices in the NBA draft. I want to see what he's going to do with that number 14 pick.
I want to see what he does also, but his trades have been good, Joe. We have to give him that. His drafting ability sucks ass.
Yep.
But when it comes to his trades, the De'Aaron Fox trade, Thad Young, we got a first rounder for Thad Young.
Yeah.
What we got for DeJounte was decent. What we got for DeMar DeRozan was decent. What we got for Jakob Poeltl, we got, so we have been getting first rounders that have all been bubbling over. We got the 2030. We traded Rob Dillingham for the 2031 pick, which was then used to go get De'Aaron Fox. From a trade perspective, it's so funny because from a trade perspective, I actually trust Brian Wright 100%. From a draft perspective, he has the obvious pick at number 2 in Dylan Harper. He doesn't get roses for that. He doesn't get roses for Castle at 4 or Wemby at 1. He doesn't get flowers for that. What are you going to do at 14? Show us that you can find somebody at 14, provided the Spurs don't trade that pick for Durant. Show us what you can do at 14. And I know you always say that I always go back at Sohan, but my God, you got to draft his replacement. Not saying that he's going to be gone. Not saying he's going to be gone. But what I'm saying is, Joe, that dude's going to be a free agent at the end of next year, a restricted free agent.
You know his name's going to be gone next season, dude.
Joe, and that's the thing. Remember, I say this all the time, Joe. Remember when Boban wanted to stay with the Spurs, and what did Pop say? Go get that bag, man. Go get that bag.
Get the F out of here, dude.
Why? Because he was offered so much more money by another team.
Yeah.
There is going to be a team in the NBA that overbids for Sohan. For one reason or another.
Coach Pop had to go ahead and drop Boban off in another neighborhood and say, you got to go, man. It's like you do the dog you don't want. You go drop him off in another neighborhood back in the day, and just leave him there and let him get picked up by a new owner. That's what Coach Pop had to do with Boban, dude. Boban wanted to stay, and he's like, no, man, go make your money. Get the hell out of here. We ain't going to pay you.
Go get your bag.
Yeah, you knew that.
Go get your bag. And that was the thing about it is that I think that's going to happen to Sohan. And everyone's like, well, it's just you don't like him. You just don't like him. No, I see things happening before people either A, want to see it, or B, they have their head in the sand. There are teams that like what Sohan brings to the table. Okay? But the weird thing is, Joe, Spurs win games when he's not on the court. They were nearly a 500 team last year with Sohan gone. They were nearly a 500 team the year before that with what? Sohan gone. And Sohan misses a lot of time, Joe. He has missed over 25 games in 2 of his first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So they have to go get a 4.
Look at Jesse A. Go on, get.
Joe, the draft is in 1 week, man. The Spurs' fortunes are going to be decided in the next week or so.
Yeah.
And what the Spurs do at 14, there's like 10 names that are conceivable. There's Carter Bryant, Asa Newell. What if somebody falls?
That could happen too, but this is what I was talking about with Jeff, because we did a recorded Locked On Spurs today. It's going to air tomorrow. And we're talking about the subject that we had brought up here on our show. Could it be possible for the Spurs to move up in the draft? And if they do move up in the draft and they go from 14, what's a good realistic, let's say, movement for them. And I'm looking at 9, 11, or 12, right? Or even 13 with the Hawks. And if the Spurs wanted to go ahead and pair a center, a legit center alongside, and they could go with the Raptors if they wanted to make a deal, And right now they have the Raptors in the mock draft with the USA Today's mock draft that was released 2 days ago. Came in Malik. They could go ahead and move up if they wanted to.
Yeah, from Duke.
Take a lot, hopefully not a lot at that juncture there. But the Spurs have a lot of first round picks. Portland Trailblazers, they have a mocked right now to go ahead and get Carter Bryant out of Arizona. Number 12 with the Chicago Bulls, they have them in the mock draft to get Derek Queen. And if number 13, the Atlanta Hawks, they have him with Noah Esenu. They could get him. If you want to go ahead and look for legit centers that you're going to draft in the 2025 NBA draft, there you go.
A lot of good names that you mentioned there, Joe. Kaman from Duke has that massive wingspan, and that's somebody that's a good rim protector.
Yep, exactly. And plays in the paint.
Yeah.
We do have a super chat incoming from Sam Salinas right here. Thanks, Sam.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
Sam says, mark my word, Fox will become the odd man out. And guess what? F his feelings. F all feelings. If it's right, then the word is gone. But again, Sam, thank you so much for this $5 super chat, by the way. That's not the world that we live in. We got De'Aaron Fox. We hoped and prayed for somebody big to come by. And guess what? The Spurs are going to pay him. The Spurs are going to pay him a large amount of money. Because the Spurs are going to pay somebody, Joe. Somebody's got to get a big contract on this team.
Yeah.
CBS Sports, yeah.
I was going to say, if you want to swing for the fences, if you're the San Antonio Spurs and really move up in the draft, you could go as high as, let's say, like number 4, Charlotte Hornets, Ace Bailey, right? Number 6, you could go and get the Washington Wizards pick, Con Knippel, or number 8, Brooklyn Nets, Kasparis Jakunis,
Yeah, I have my favorites. And I know you have your favorites too when it comes to it all. What I find funny is that Gary Parrish, who's a pretty well-followed sports writer for CBS Sports, less than an hour ago released his latest mock draft on CBSSports.com. It's also featured on NBA.com. And he says that he's hearing movement of some names jumping up. We talked about players falling. What about players? So if players are jumping up in the draft, that means players that are supposedly supposed to go in 3, 4, 5, and 6 are starting to fall in many situations. So according to CBS Sports' Gary Parrish, number 1 overall, obviously Cooper Flagg going to the Dallas Mavericks. They have the Spurs taking Dylan Harper, saying that Dylan Harper is the consensus number 2 player in the draft, and that the Spurs have to take him even if it's not a perfect fit on the roster. Right? They have at number 3, Joe. Not Ace Bailey, not VJ Edgecombe. They're saying that people on the ground in Philadelphia have fallen in love with UT's Trey Johnson, who shot 40% from 3 last year. It was 20 points per game, had a green light the entire time. They have VJ Edgecombe dropping to number 4, shooting guard out of Baylor. I like Edgecombe, dude. That guy is silky smooth. Going to Charlotte. They have Ace Bailey falling to number 5, going to the Utah Jazz. Jeremiah Fears, the point guard from Oklahoma, jumping up to number 6 to go to the Washington Wizards. Con Knippel, I've seen some mock drafts say as high as 3. They have him at 7 going to New Orleans. So if you want to get Con Knippel, who's an all-around Swiss Army knife of a player, 7's probably where you have to go.
What's Con Knippel? Bucket getter.
He's a bucket getter. He's a Swiss Army knife, dude. He's just high IQ, go out, get the pass, get the rebound, just unselfish player. Kamen Maluak of the Duke Blue Devils going number 8 to the Duke Blue Devils. Going to the Brooklyn Nets, rather. Derek Queen jumping to number 9. That's another player, center from Maryland. He's compared to Alperen Şengün. Going number 9 to the Toronto Raptors. They have Carter Bryant, who I'm not a big fan of, Joe. Carter Bryant had a great run during March Madness, but during the regular season was basura. They have him going number 10 to who? The Houston Rockets. Drop down to number 14. I see a lot of mock drafts saying this, and if it happens, I am just going to roll over and just cry into a pillow. They have the Spurs taking at number 14, Liam McNeely of UConn. 6'7", small forward, who is described as a shooter, Joe, but he shot 31% from three.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you are a shooter, you need to make more buckets from three.
Yeah. We do have an incoming super chat here from the Drew Show. So we're going to go ahead and show that on screen right now. This one's for you, Mike.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
He says, LOL, 2 weeks ago to Jimenez Contranation.
He was trying to say contrarian.
Contrarian, okay. I said explicitly Spurs will move back and get the nipple and get more capital, LOL. The Spurs moving... Oh, by the way, thank you for the super chat, Drew. Spurs are not moving back in the draft. They're not. They're not. If they're going to move back in the draft, it's with the 14 pick. It's not with the 2 pick.
Yeah.
All this chatter about how Brooklyn is calling the Spurs to get the number 2 pick and that all these teams want to flip-flop and maybe the Spurs will drop to number 3, never going to happen. Never going to happen. Because if that happens, we need to torch the Rocket La Cantera, right? We need to go over there, torch the MFer because you don't do that to the number 2 pick. But, Joe, see what Memphis is doing right now. Should be a good thing for the Spurs. Can we talk about, well, what teams are the Spurs better than? Who are the Spurs going to pass on the elevator, right? I'm telling you, Golden State's getting older, right? Memphis, getting rid of Desmond Bane, might get rid of Jaren Jackson Jr. That's a name that you offer a haul for, is Jaren Jackson Jr. Somebody who can play the 5 and can play excellent defense. That's a player that the Spurs want to kick the tires on. I can see. But I see a lot of teams right now, Joe, that are getting worse. Phoenix is getting worse. Sacramento is getting worse. The Spurs are moving up the elevator, Joe. Moving up the elevator. The question is not whether they're going to make the play-in next year. That's a foregone conclusion. The answer is yes. It's whether they're going to make the playoffs as a top 6 team and avoid the play-in. That's the big question.
I don't know. I still think the jury's out if they make even the play-in. I think what's going to happen again, you have to factor in injuries at any given time in the season. It's part of the game. How well are they going to play with some of their best players out? Can they go ahead and kind of still keep things even keel? Because I think that's going to be really what's going to either make or break them at the end of the day. And you know what? If you win between 41 to 44 games, I don't know if that'll be enough this year to get you into the play-in. I mean, it would have been last year, but again, we had a lot of injuries with some of these other teams that had some of their best players out,
As we are right now,
game.
Joe, we're about a 45, 46 win team as we are right now.
Yeah, but
I know people are like, oh, are you adding Dylan Harper? Well, yeah, Dylan Harper's a good player. What the one thing that is upsetting, though, Joe, is that historically the number 2 pick has kind of been a dud recently. I'm going to look them up right now. Remember the most concerning one back in the day, the one that we all remember, 2005, Darko Milicic.
God, who was he picked ahead of?
Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh.
And that was a debacle there by Joe Dumars and the Detroit Pistons.
Mm-hmm. Here's some players. So AI Overview on Google says, historically, the number 2 pick in the NBA draft has produced a mix of Hall of Famers, MVPs, NBA champions, and players who did not live up to any of the high expectations. Hall of Fame players picked at number 2, Joe, include Bill Russell, Jerry West, Isaiah Thomas, Gary Payton, Earl Monroe, Jason Kidd, Bob McAdoo, Alonzo Mourning, Kevin Durant, Bob Pettit. But there have been busts. The 2 biggest busts ever. Sam Bowie at number 2. Taken before who, Joe? Michael Jordan. And why did they draft Sam Bowie? We already had guards. That's the idea of well, why are we drafting Harper when we need Ace Bailey? No, you get the best player.
Best available player, not always drafting for need, not at that juncture.
And it says there are some times when the number 2 player is actually better than the number 1 player. We saw that when Kevin Durant in 2007 went number 2, when Greg Oden went number 1.
Here we go. We're going to have another super chat incoming from the Drew Show here. Thanks, Drew.
Here comes the money.
And there you go, Mike.
Drew Show says, it will happen whether number 2, 3, 2, or 7. It will happen. And you know nothing, and you will do nothing but cry and complain. You'll do nothing. LOL, burn down. Well, let me read that one again. It will happen whether number 2 or number 3 or number 2 and number 7. It will happen. I'm confused. What am I going to cry about? I want the Spurs to get Dylan Harper. I want the Spurs to stay at number 2.
Yeah. You know, I think the biggest debacle, too, when it came to number 1 picks is like Rudy G had pointed out, Greg Oden.
Yeah. And all the drafts are different, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you an example. We talked about Stephon Castle winning Rookie of the Year. He never would have won Rookie of the Year in any of the previous 10 years. Great player, potential all-star, but it was a weak draft class. And there are going to be some years where, there are going to be some years where it's just crap players out there, dude.
Yeah.
There are bad drafts and there are good drafts. I mean, look at 2005. 4 of the top 5 players were Hall of Famers. Number 2 wasn't because they took Darko Milicic. Sometimes you can't outsmart it, Joe. And I think that's what happens when you have players. You ever see the movie Moneyball?
Oh yeah, I've seen that movie.
When they say, "Oh man, the way that he walks into a room and the way that the sound of the bat when it hits the ball and all of these things which are all stupid." It's like, well, what's his batting average? Does what's his slugging percentage? Does he hit for power? Like that's what matters, not whether or not he has the aura or he commands respect in a room. F that, dude. Can you make a bucket? Can you make a bucket?
Or would you say the crack of the bat, like Oshani?
Yeah.
Scared the crap out of you and Chica on your first
Dude, that was crazy, man. That was
kind of like thunder.
and Chica, who played college softball, looked at me startled because she loves going. She goes to a lot of Astros games, right? She's a huge Astros fan, big baseball fan. She played college softball. She looked at me, and this was our first date. And she grabbed me by the arm, startled, and she was like, "I've never heard anything like that before." Shohei Ohtani hitting a home run there at what used to be called Minute Maid Park, now Dakin Field. All right. I want to give Drew paid for the super chat. Says, confused, is this guy for real just talking about the Spurs trading back 2 for 3 or 2 for 7? Spurs aren't trading back. There are 2 stud players in this draft and a lot of projects. And guess who the studs are? Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper. And this whole idea that, Dylan Harper played for a team that didn't even make the March Madness, the big dance. You're not drafting the whole team. Basketball is a team sport. Victor Wembanyama was not even the main player of his French team. You draft the player, you don't draft the team. Dylan Harper is a bucket getter. He's a lefty. The guy can go rock the rim. The guy can create his own shot. He shot a little bit better from 3 than Castle did in college, 32% from 3. He is the real deal. There's a reason why teams are calling the Spurs for the number 2 pick. It's not so that they can draft Conca-Nipple. Joe, if all these teams are trying to trade up for the number 2 pick, Joe, who do you think they're trying to get?
I don't know. They're going to go and trade up for the number 2 pick?
Yeah. There's only one player they're going for, Joe.
Harper?
Yeah. No one's traded up to number 2 to get Ace Bailey. No one's traded up to number 2 to get Trey Johnson. No one's traded up to number 2 to get VJ Edgecombe. Nobody's going up to number 2 to get Conca-Nipple. No one's going up to number 2 to get Jeremiah Fears. None of those guys are going for 2. Where they all want at 2, Joe? Every single one of them. They want Harper.
Yeah, this thing is, Drew. I'll be honest with you, man. I really don't see that the Spurs would trade back in the draft. Why would they give up the number 14 pick, trade back down in the draft, or even you give up the number 2 and drop down further down in the draft? At that point, you're still going to be going and drafting the best available player. If you're in that top 10, even in the top 14, you're still going to draft best available player. The only time you can really draft for need is if you're going to go into the second round, you're going to go later into the second round, you're going to go ahead and draft for the need of the team based on what is out there for you. But in the top echelon of the draft, you're drafting best available player. That might not always be that you're going to draft a player that's going to fit a need on the team. For example, the Spurs will draft, at 14, if the best available player is a guard, they'll probably draft the guard, against the judgment of Spurs fans. They'd be mad, but they're going to be, hey, this was the best available player at number 14. If Asa Noel or maybe another big is gone at that point, which would have been your best available player at that position, at number 14.
It has happened before.
Yeah.
You saw Halliburton get drafted by a team that had De'Aaron Fox, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham were back-to-back first-rounders for the Pistons. They both play point guard. It's because you took the best player available. We saw what Cade Cunningham has developed into.
Drew's on one today. I don't know why he's so upset, man. I don't know. I think I'm confused as why Drew's upset.
Let's let him settle down a little bit. Give some love to MCS General Contracting. They power the chat on this fine program. Again, MCS General Contracting with that Diamond Heart Concrete.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
How hard is that concrete, Joe?
It's diamond hard.
That's right. They do a fantastic job. Numbers on the screen, 210-774-9155. 210-774-9155. I misspoke earlier, Joe, when I was talking about who the Rockets could potentially trade for Kevin Durant. I said Suggs. I meant Green. Jaylen Suggs plays for another team. I'm talking about Jalen Green. I get those names confused sometimes. But the idea would be for them to package Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and Terry Eason and picks for the rights to Kevin Durant. If that's the case, the Spurs aren't going to get him.
Yeah.
That's a better haul than what the Spurs could offer because, hate to say it, Vassell's just a dude. Barnes is a reliable dude, but he's an older dude. The Spurs, I mean, if Houston wants him, they're going to get him. If Houston lowballs, the Spurs are going to get Kevin Durant. I would put the Spurs at the highest I was in confidence level was 70% of getting Kevin Durant. Right now I'm at 45.
Yeah.
I think Houston and San Antonio are by far the two most obvious ones. Miami being the long shot. Joe, NBA Finals tonight, Game 5. You and I said the other day, Game 4 winner's probably going to win the series. Oklahoma City came back to win that game.
I think that what's going to happen again is that there's going to be a very close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means because both teams are playing each other very physical. They kind of figured each other out. What needs to happen with Indiana specifically, if they're going to, they even have a chance at winning this game, is they're going to need contributions out of everybody. And that means your second unit specifically. I think Indiana's second unit is better than Oklahoma City's. The only thing is that we're going to see how long the starters can go ahead and hold out. Oklahoma has a great starting five, but they just don't have a very good bench. And I think that's one of the things that you're going to have to go ahead and play in this series. And like I said, the longer it goes out, I think it's going to be more into Indiana's favor because they have a deeper team, a more well-balanced team. They just need to find a way to go ahead and get more production out of some of the other unsung heroes from Indiana. If they can do that, and that I think will give Indiana the edge, and they can possibly sneak out a win. Maybe last minute heroics here, coming back from 8 or 10 in the last 2 minutes, but I think it's quite possible that Indiana can do that. Indiana plays better when they play from behind instead of sustaining the league like we saw in this last game. I think that's going to be more conducive to them getting that win over in Oklahoma City. If they don't win this game, because this is a must win for both teams, it's not looking good for Indiana.
Well, I believe the percentages are like 75, 76% of those who win game 5 when it's tied 2-2 go on to win the series. I disagree with you, Joe, when it comes to Indiana being the better team. I still think that Oklahoma City is the better team.
They have a great starting five, Mike.
They have a great starting five, and they'll go run them out 36, 38, 30, 39 minutes. When was the last time they played? Like Friday?
Yeah, it's been a while, dude. They give them quite a bit of a break in between games.
And that benefits Oklahoma City because, like you said, they don't like going to the bench so much, right? But now you have fresh legs. You have a home field advantage, home court advantage. You've got that crowd rocking. There's going to be a blowout game in this series, and if there's going to be a blowout game in this series, I would think it'd be this one. I think fresh legs. This seems more and more, Joe, destined to go to Game 7.
Yeah,
I think my pick of Thunder in 5, and I think your pick of Pacers in 6 are both wrong. It's probably going to be either of those teams in 7. I think that Oklahoma City went and they tracked TJ McConnell.
Yeah,
they were looking at these players for the Pacers that were the heroes of Game 3, and we're like, no, you're not going to do that again, man. You're not going to do that again. I'm not saying that they let them cook.
Yeah,
But you could tell that they weren't focused on them defensively back in Game 3. They corrected that in Game 4. I just think that the rest of the legs are going to help Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is poised to win this game, and it's whether or not Indiana can force the Game 7 that's going to be the big thing.
I think that Indiana can force a Game 7, but if you're playing on Oklahoma's home court, they have the advantage at this point. So it's comes down to one game, and that might be quite possibly what we're looking at. I'm still going to stick with my original pick, Pacers in 6, though.
Vegas has the odds. Indiana underdogs by 9.5 points. You can get plus 320 right now on ESPN Bet right now. Plus 320 if you bet Indiana to win the game outright. The over-under is 224 points. So they're expecting a high-scoring game.
I might have to take that, man. Might have to take that. I'm a betting man, and I'll gamble. I'll lose some money, but I'll win. I remember when I used to have these bets all the time with Big Papi Brandon Medina when we're doing the fantasy gods. And most of the time my bets wouldn't pan out, but when they did pan out, man, you winning big money, man.
Yeah.
Big money.
Sam reaches out to us and says OKC is in 5 is now impossible. Pacers in 6 is still possible, but Mike says you're wrong. Because I'm wrong, you're wrong too, Joe.
I said I still got to stick with my original pick. I said Pacers in 6. I'm still sticking with that. And if it goes 7, great. But, at that point, it's anybody's game.
Jesse A says it's the Caitlyn Clark effect. Pacers got the big game, but they just miss out and lose sometimes. Caitlyn Clark, when she attends the Indiana Pacers games, they tend to win. But then again, Indiana's been winning a lot of home games to begin with. Caitlyn Clark came back from her injury, had a near triple-double coming out. But guess who had a triple-double yesterday, Joe?
Who?
Angel Reese had a triple-double yesterday.
Oh, no.
Can we get a round of applause for Angel Reese?
I guess I can go ahead and I get something up for you here, Mike. Here we go.
Angel Reese with a triple-double despite the fact that she only made 2 buckets. She had 2 buckets. Let's see her stats here. Her Chicago team beat Connecticut 78-66 yesterday. Triple-double. She was celebrating it, by the way, on social media. She had 11 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 11 assists, and 13 rebounds. That's a legit triple-double. That's a legit triple-double, Joe, and they won the game. Caitlyn Clark, however, had herself a monster game over the weekend. And what was funny about it was everyone's all celebrated online as they beat the Liberty 102-88. Caitlyn Clark returning from injury. She missed a few weeks because of a quad injury. Caitlyn Clark goes out there and had 32 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. Also had 7 turnovers, Joe. Why? Why can't she hold on to the damn ball?
Oh, man. It's one of those things, you just can't get it all with her, She's always turning the ball over. But, Caitlyn Clark does that a lot, too. She turns the ball over a lot.
Yeah. Caitlyn broke the record last year for most turnovers in WNBA history. And the number was so high, Joe, that it was more than double the record from historically.
Look at Chris Gonzalez says he's a triple-double against the second worst team. No lies detected.
Can't give Angel Reese any love.
No lies detected, man. That's all I'm saying. I know she ain't going to do that against a good team, though.
Yeah. Very, very, very funny.
Look at this one, David. David Martinez.
Stop for Zion and Knipple.
I don't know what's going to happen, man, with Zion. Zion is like washed, bro.
Why are Spurs fans so upset about Dylan Harper going on this team? I don't get it. I have never seen a Spurs scenario where we get the number 2 overall pick and we're like, I know he's compared to Cade Cunningham, and I know he's probably going to be an all-star a few times, but we have Stephon Castle, and you better not get rid of Sohan, Joe. You better not get rid of Sohan. Spurs fan, dude, showing more and more how uneducated most Spurs fans are. So uneducated.
Mike, you're going to start calling them out on their takes. Now you're going to be like,
all of them. Tavares says he doesn't fit, Mike. Then you get Castle gone. How many times do I have to say this? Harper's better than Castle. Harper is going to be better than Castle. If he doesn't fit, then you get rid of the player that doesn't fit, which is Castle. Maybe it's not Harper that doesn't fit. Maybe it's Castle that doesn't fit. The Spurs are not in the position to draft according to position. We are in the position of we need the best players available. And there's nothing to say that you can't have a De'Aaron Fox, Castle, Harper lineup. What's wrong with that lineup? There's size. You got 2 players that are 6'6". That's fine.
And we have a viewer of ours that just reached out. We have several of them that reached out to us in the media share. But this one sharing this article, Mike, and it was the worst number 1 picks in NBA draft history, ranked by, it says, Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown, and among biggest bust.
Right. Okay. Go back and show that again.
There you go.
Let's look at those names right there. It was Kwame Brown.
Anthony Bennett.
Well, Anthony Bennett, that was a crap draft to begin with, Joe.
Yeah,
what year was Anthony?
Stinkers, dude.
I mean, I'm going to look up the Anthony Bennett draft. It's one of those ones where that might be the worst draft of all time. That was a 2013.
Mm-hmm.
2013 draft, Joe. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this draft, Joe. 2013 NBA draft. There was one good player chosen, and he wasn't even in the lottery, Joe.
God,
that was Giannis.
Jeez.
Chosen at 15, right? So the 2013 draft had at number 1 Anthony Bennett. You had Victor Oladipo at 2, who's had a decent career. Otto Porter Jr., Cody Zeller, Alex Len, Nerlens Noel, Ben McLemore, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Trey Burke, CJ McCollum's an all-star. Michael Carter-Williams was number 11. He won the Rookie of the Year. Steven Adams, Kelly Olynyk, Shabazz Muhammad, Giannis, Lucas Nogueira, Dennis Schroeder, Shane Larkin, Sergei Karasev, Tony Snell, Gornji Dang. What a crap draft that was. Oh, what was that one right there I saw, Joe?
Which is the other one?
Michael pulling the uneducated card?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I pulled that card. A lot of Spurs fans don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Oh.
Santa,
He doesn't fit. You must have quit.
go make more money. So, Joe, Chica and I were talking about going on another vacation at the end of the year. Yeah, taking some time off from trips. We have one more trip this week. We're actually going to Miami next month. After that, we're going to take some time off from traveling. And she goes, we gotta save some money for this. I was like, I know. We'll just make more money. I don't understand the concept.
Yeah.
I am somebody who has worked multiple jobs to get what I want.
Have you told her that you said San Antonio is a poor city?
Oh, she was laughing. She laughed so hard at that. I was looking at land yesterday, Joe. I drove out to Mico, is the town, M-I-C-O?
Yeah.
I was in Mico, kind of by Medina Lake. I don't know why they call it Medina Lake. There is no lake to be had there. It's only 2% full.
There's nothing there, man.
It's like rock pile.
I look at that. They're getting mad at me because I said Zion's washed. The dude can't stay healthy. He's out for most of the season. I mean, you can't say that he was a bust, but he's quite near it, man. The guy just can't seem to stay healthy. He can't finish a full season, and that's a shame because you're never really going to get to see what his potential really is because he just can't stay healthy. At what point do you have to move on from him if you're the New Orleans Pelicans? It's like a bad investment. You got to walk away at some point. You got to call it,
Zion Williamson is somebody who has the potential to be a Hall of Famer. He has the legit talent to do that. But like you said, he can't stay on the court. Well, you have 82 games in the season, right?
82 games, yes, sir.
First year he played 24. Second year he played 61. Third year he played 29. Then he played 70. Then he played 30. He has played 214 games, Joe, in 5 years. 214 divided by 5. 214 divided by 5. He averages 43 games per year. He's not on the court.
It's not.
I think the problem, Joe, is that a lot of these GMs are enamored with potential, not with what's there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Spurs fans look at Kawhi Leonard back in what year is that, 2012? They look at a Kawhi Leonard and they think to themselves, well, there was a player that couldn't shoot, that couldn't do this and the other, but he didn't have a broken shot, Joe. The Kawhi Leonard transformation was amazing, yes, but you could see it actually happening. You mentioned names out there like Anthony Bennett. Remember Michael Olowokandi?
Yeah.
Remember players like that? That was all based on quote-unquote potential, not on actual basketball IQ, not on actual performance on the court. That's why I look at this draft, Joe. Look at this draft, Joe. This is why 2025 draft's gonna be solid.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg. You can watch him play at Duke. You saw him play like a stud in March Madness. You know he's gonna be good. We see it. We see the talent on the court. It's not combine stuff. We see it on the court. We see Dylan Harper. And Dylan Harper is going to be a fantastic NBA player. Why? Because we see it on the court. Trey Johnson, you know what translates over from college to pros? Shooting the ball. He might be Kemba Walker, right? He shoots 40% from three. We've seen it on the court. VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. We see it on the court. The guy is silky smooth, man. He looks like Clyde Drexler out there. He's just smooth. His fluidity, his motion. He can knock down threes. We see it. It's when we look at certain players and think to ourselves, you know what? Maybe we could coach this player up. That's what pisses me off. I want an NBA-ready player today. Asa Noel is going to be able to play today. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star.
I don't know about that. I think Asa Noel's still a project player, man.
6'11", 230. That guy can play right now.
He doesn't have a lot of experience, though. He's still super young.
He's got the body, Joe, and he bangs bodies. What he does out there lends itself to being played today. Con Knipple, he looks like Josh Giddey. He could play today. Who are the players out there that might not be able to play today? Carter Bryant. Right? Carter Bryant's probably the most obvious one. He's going to be coached up to it all. That guy Kasparis. Kamen will be one as well. But Drew Show coming in hot.
Yep.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
He's stuck on the caps lock right now, saying Dylan Harper is all world, but I'm saying he had to be traded for Giannis 3 weeks ago, but his draft year 2013 was the worst. OKC in 4. Mike J 2025. The Giannis trade was never going to happen. Again, we talked about this earlier about the Desmond Bane trade, how it has no impact or effect on what's going on with Kevin Durant because it's two different players. It's two different scenarios. And because one team overpays doesn't mean another team has to. Giannis was not going to be traded because Milwaukee didn't want to get rid of him because there's 2 years left on his deal. He'll probably be dealt next year. Let's get some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at Ken's 5. What I want to know is, did Mira Sorvino flirt with him? I don't know. He was on stage with Mira Sorvino over the weekend, the actress from back in the day. Still an actress, but still, I remember from Romeo and Michelle, but she's done other things. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
So, Joe, what was Jeff doing where he was interviewing Mira Sorvino?
So, Jeff was actually being the MC for the panels that were over there at the Terracon that happened over the weekend at the Henry B. Gonzalez Center. It was starting on Friday, went all the way through Sunday. So, it was a big deal. They had a lot of actors that people knew from like Chucky and other horror franchises that were out there, and you could go ahead and pay to take pictures with said celebrities. They had Machete, Danny Trejo out there on the stage with Jeff. He was talking with him a bit. He had other people out there from other franchises, horror franchises such as Scream, and he was able to talk with them for a bit as well, kind of pick their brains and, get some things that were happening behind the scenes, kind of insider information there that they were sharing with the fans over there at the panel. So Jeff was busy, man. He spent about 5 hours, he said, talking straight, hosting these panels. So his voice was a little shot on Locked On Spurs today.
Someone asked a question. Did she, Head of a Fist asked the question, was she Romy or Michelle? She was Romy. Romy.
There it is. Yeah, Romy or Michelle. Yeah, and she also came out in that horror movie. It was called Mimic, I believe. And that's probably what a lot of people know her from. Probably why she was there at the Terracon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that. That was a movie that came out I think it was in like the late 90s or early 2000s. Is when that movie came out.
Oh my goodness, man. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one. But let's get some love to me, Joe. You can put my number out there. 210-508-0369. I'm getting some Give some love to me, 210-508-0369. Financial services, investments, insurances, long-term care. Give me a call. Auto, homeowners insurance. Give me a call. It's already been a busy day at work, Joe. I'm already getting bombarded with messages right now. Yeah.
I bet, man. We give Mike a call here. I want to go ahead and share this on screen as well because we go ahead and congratulate some of our viewers here that have been participating since the beginning. And look at Mario Cavazos. He says he's currently at the UT orientation with one of his children, attending that over there at UT right now. So congratulations to the Cavazos family. I know I went and did the same thing with my daughter a few years ago when she graduated, and we did the open house that they had over there for UT. So it's a big deal, man. Congratulations to him.
I remember when I did the family orientation for my daughter at LSU, and Gabby just gave me a look because she's 17 years old, and she's going to be going to LSU at the time, and they're showing a video of like how great it is to go to that school, right? And they were showing like out of all the SEC schools, LSU grads make the second most out of all the SEC schools behind Texas A&M. And they're going on and on about all like the great things, and you can make best friends and blah blah blah. And then it stops the music stops, and it says you might be able to meet the one. And it shows a guy and girl looking at each other. And she looked at me and she was like, "I ain't here to meet a husband. I'm not coming to school to meet a guy." Joe, what happened to Mario Lopez?
I don't know, man. It was the strangest thing, dude. I'm just scouring at things that we're going to talk about on today's show, right? Then all of a sudden, I see this one video pop up with Mario Lopez allegedly getting served with papeles here because he's getting his ass sued again. So I don't know what happened or what the context was, but they had the video up here, and I'll go ahead and show it for the viewers. Mario Lopez getting served on Father's Day. They have the audacity to say, "Have a good Father's Day, Mario." So we'll go ahead and play the video with the audio.
You've been served, Mario. Drop it on the ground. You can drop it on the ground. All right, lawsuit's right there, Mario. You've been served, so it's there. Thank you. See you in court, Mario. Oh, so hey, happy Father's Day.
So according to Distractify, the celebrity, Mario Lopez, is being sued for an old Instagram post, apparently for defamation. God. It says apparently Mario's getting served in connection with the defamation lawsuits filed by Desiree Townsend over various things Mario said to her on social media. She filed a $10 million lawsuit over a single Instagram post that says that Mario defamed me. Who's Desiree?
Who knows, man? This dude seems like he's always in trouble. And wasn't it you guys that said you all turned him away when he tried tall tale time, when he tried to join you all in a pickup game?
Okay, first of all, it's not a tall tale game because it's a tall tale within a tall tale.
Yeah. So tell us the story, man. You all turned down Mario Lopez.
So it was the NBA All-Star Weekend when it was in San Antonio there in the mid-90s. And I had some friends who took part in including myself, in the 6'2" and under 3-on-3 basketball tournament. So you had to be like 6'2" and under a certain age, within a certain age bracket, right?
Yeah.
I think you had to be like under 25, under 22, shorter than 6'2". And my friends and I are just making our way through the brackets, right? We just kept winning. And we get to, I don't know, this was like a semifinal game. And we show up at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center, I think is where it was at. And there was this big crowd at our there was a bunch of courts there, but on our court, there was like a center court that had like the MTV stuff that they had going on, right?
Yeah.
MTV was doing a celebrity basketball tournament, all that stuff. But we had this huge crowd there, and it was all around the court. And I thought, man, a lot of people wanting to see the semifinal matchup, right? And it was because Mario Lopez was shooting hoops. And, he was AC Slater at the time. and he comes up to us and asks us if he could join our game. Can we play ball? Can I be on your team? And we felt pressured into like saying yes because it's Mario Lopez and the crowd is so big. And long story short, he sucked during the warm-ups, man. Couldn't shoot. He was awkward. Couldn't make a bucket to save his life. And he's shorter than me. Okay. So finally, he comes up to us and goes, "So am I starting? Am I off the bench? What do you want me to do?" You know? And my friend Rick was like, "Dude, you're not on our team, all right? You suck."
Look at hand over fist. He's saying, "Cap alert."
Stop the cap.
The cap would have been if I had said it, but I didn't say it. It was my friend Richard who said it. He was like, "Dude, you suck, man." And the other thing about it, though, was that we had gone through the tournament and we had won like 3 or 4 rounds to get there. And they told us that if Mario Lopez had played on our team, that we would have automatically been disqualified from the tournament because he wasn't part of the original roster. So we didn't want him to play because we were like, "Hey, we want to advance in the tournament." But anyway, long story short.
Look at this, Mike. This was right after the Tim Duncan asked you to do the pickup game at Racquetball and Fitness, and you said no.
No, that was before.
Oh, and speaking of which, one of our listeners here was sharing a story here, a picture that kind of goes along with this Tim Duncan thing. So I'm going to share it right here on screen. But he was asking a question. He goes, he was watching a vid on YouTube yesterday, and this came up. He goes, "How close did this actually come to happening?" And he's talking about Tim Duncan joining the Orlando Magic. Remember the debacle?
Mm-hmm.
Dropping the bag. Doc Rivers, man. The brother can't get a break, right? You have Tim Duncan almost signing with the Orlando Magic. And the deal breaker was he asked if he could have his wife and family basically join him on flights. And he's like,
"Nah.
No, you can't." No, the answer is yes, you can. What a dumbass, dude.
No, Joe. No. Because what he said, Doc Rivers said was, "F you and your feelings. That's not how we do things here. There's no star treatment." Earlier in the show, Joe, you were like, "You need to stand up to the players."
I do believe that Duncan. Still, but I'm saying
he stood up to Tim Duncan. Yeah, you see,
he already had him.
You see what happens, Joe?
And he told Tim Duncan, "F your feelings," and he re-signed with the Spurs, and the rest is history. But talk about dropping the bag when you already had everything, man. It's like, it's funny, dude. And then Tracy McGrady went on to say the same thing, and he talks about it on podcasts when they ask him, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, he did tell him that." He's like, they were just kind of confused as, why didn't you just tell him yes? Figure it out later.
You see, Jesse Abrich is out to us at our YouTube stream, our chat line powered by MCS, saying Joe would have been Doc Rivers telling him no.
Yeah, I would have told him no. Can I have my wife and kids? I'd be like, "Hey, can I have my side chicks as well on the plane?" That's not going to happen, brother. What is that one thing from like, was it next Friday? That guy picked me when they had him at gunpoint. "Don't shoot me, young blood. Yeah. I got a girlfriend, or I got a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend, and I got a wife on the side." Something like that.
Yeah.
Shit was funny as hell, man. It's like these guys, back in the day, one or two, or even some of the front office guys, they probably had a mistress or two on the damn plane, and you're gonna tell Tim Duncan he can't have his family, he can't have his wife join him. Come on, man.
Chica was over here. She has a son who's moving out. He's getting an apartment in Houston. He goes to Rice. Getting his master's over there. Is a fantastic young man. And his friends come over all the time because we have a pool table over here. So they come by, they shoot pool, and it's one of those things where you'd rather them be drinking here at the house than at some bar, going to a Fast Eddie's or a Clicks, right, to go play pool. So they come by, they play pool over here. And I was asking Chica, I was like, "How long have these kids been coming over here, to your house?" She's like, "Oh, for the last 10 years. And I was thinking about it. I wonder if any of them have a crush on Chica, right?
God.
And you mentioned Friday. I was walking around going, Miss Parker. Hi, Miss Parker.
That's funny, dude. You know, it was funny too, because I sent you all a picture of myself over the weekend because I was just waiting for the comments to come in, because it's like, it's going to be funny. I got a new haircut, I got faded up.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to do a mic. I'm going to pull a mic and I'm going to send it to the group to see what they say, right?
Oh, my God. They did not disappoint.
Yeah, they did disappoint. And I was out here laughing my ass off, just give them a little fuel for the fire. And then Mike's all, Chica says Joe's single and ready to mingle. Oh, God,
oh my goodness.
dude.
I'm excited about this weekend, man, because Chica and I've never been in a relationship like this before where I have a girlfriend who makes good income, doesn't have a lot of responsibilities when it comes to financial stuff. She does good for herself, right? And I do too. We've been traveling. I've been in relationships before where it was like pulling teeth to go to Corpus, man. But Chica and I, in the last 6 months, have gone to Barbados. We've gone to Jamaica. We've gone to Key West. We've gone to Miami. We went to Vegas. Now we're going to the Dominican Republic this week. Those 1099s. I gotta keep making those 1099s, yo. But we're going to the Dominican Republic. We're taking my little Ava.
You know what's funny? You're saying Jamaica. I remember you were saying all sorts of cochino stuff when you came back from Jamaica with your BBD, drink and all that.
Yeah.
And I just thought of a T-shirt for you, man, for you that you could wear and show to Chica and make her laugh. You are Jamaican me horny.
She kind of does.
Ooh, I know. That's why I thought it would be funny. You could put that on a shirt. You'd be like Wemby. She'll be looking at you like, like she'll be like, "What the hell is this, dude? What are you doing?" Or like Wemby.
What the fuck is this?
That's what you're gonna be telling me. What the fuck is this? Take that shirt off, man.
Oh goodness, dude! I'm excited about it because my youngest one's going out there. She's never been to a nice beach. She's been to Corpus, she's been to Galveston, she's been to the Santa Monica Pier, but we never actually went to the water. We just went to the pier itself.
That water's cold, bro.
Yeah, but we'll be in the Dominican Republic, and that's going to be a fun time, dude. That's going to be a fun time. We're looking at doing a family trip at the end of the year. She just likes to travel, dude. She likes to travel.
Yeah. And look at this, Rafa. This is funny. This is a good question for you, Mike. Look at what he asked. Where did you find a woman like Chica in the 210? Too many gold diggers here in the 210.
Well, I didn't find her in the 210. I found her closer to the 713. No, I met Chica online. And it's funny because, I got, second marriage evaporated, right? It 12 years. And, it didn't work out. And it was weird because I look at it this way. Got separated, lost my radio show. I didn't lose it. I just didn't live up to their salary demands.
You didn't want to work for free, basically, half of what you were making.
Yeah, I could have kept my show. They wanted me to take a 40% pay cut. Although I had a contract, Joe, for like the rest of the year to get paid a certain amount, right? Like an agreement. I signed it. And they wanted me to cut me by 40%. So it wasn't like, oh, well, Jimenez, you lost your radio show because, your ratings sucked or whatever. No, I was being told if you wanted to keep your show, you had to take a 40% pay cut. I said no. And then they kept telling me this, and I kept on saying no. And then after about 3 or 4 months, they finally just pulled the plug on me. So that's how that went. So I lost the radio show. My ex didn't want to be married anymore. My dog died. My business partner left. All within like a 2-month window there.
Yeah.
And man, Joe, I was in a fog for a long time. When you and I first met to do this show, I was in a fog. I was angry. I was bitter. I was mad at life. And as time has gone on, there's a healing process that takes place. I met Chica online. I didn't meet her at a place. I met her online. By the way, my business partner's back, so I'm working with him all over again. So he came back,
Nice.
right? But I met Chica online, and it was so funny because when you go online and you go on to Match or Tinder or Bumble and all that stuff, all you're doing is just going through profile after profile after profile, profile after profile after profile. And I actually I met Chica on Facebook Dating, which is a free site.
Yeah.
And you can see if you have anything, any friends in common, but we didn't. But what's so funny is I was sifting through it. I went through, if you counted Bumble, Match, Tinder, and Facebook, I probably went through about, no lie, 2,000, 3,000 profiles, just sifting through it, swiping left and right, right? No, yes, no, yes. I saw hers, Joe, and I said, I swear to God, I said this. I saw hers, I said, that's the one. And I reached out. She was at a casino when she reached out to me. I was like, oh shit, she's at a casino. And she sent me a pic when she was at the casino. And I was like, damn, girl, hi, Miss Parker.
Oh, look at Black Bucket says, did Chica submit her 1099 before the date?
Dude, she's got 1099s herself, man. She's a dental hygienist. She's the dental hygienist, man. She's a dental hygienist, and she does very well for herself. She's an empty nester. Makes good money. Has zero debt. I mean, what more do I want, Joe? I mean, it's like people are telling me, they're like, oh, well, you're going on all these trips, you're going to get in debt. I'm like, no, we're paying cash.
Sam Salinas says, you marry the girl, Mike.
Probably it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Probably it's going to happen.
Right? Is the Area 210 podcast going to be invited?
Yeah.
The extended family.
Rafa says there's a lot of tortas and feas on Facebook dating.
But you're gonna get catfished, man. You're gonna get catfished.
It's not all of them. I mean, I met some nice people on some of these sites. Went out with a couple. Got catfished a couple of times. One girl. I told Chica about this yesterday. One of the girls had dark hair in her profile pic, and then when I went to go meet her, she had all grayed out. It's like, did you just turn gray? Or did you just decide not to? Was that a 5-year-old photo or what? You have those great angle shots where they look like a certain size, then you meet them and they're like 900 pounds. That happens as well. So she goes what do you do? I was like, well, you just finish the date and you just leave. You just don't do that.
Everybody's putting in their 2 cents, man. It's going to be funny because the rumor is it always goes around. They like to start it as a joke. They're like, congratulations, Mike, on getting married to Chica. That always happens every so often, man.
Mike already met Chica's mom. The date is set. Dude, I took Chica's mom to the airport the other day by myself.
Jeez, there you go. La suegra.
Huh?
La suegra.
And here's and Chica was with us at Little Red Barn yesterday when my family get together.
Tell us about this Little Red Barn. I'm going to show the pictures because I think you have it on your X right now. Hold on.
Yeah, for some reason the selfie I had with her did not take. It uploaded incorrectly.
Oh, there we go. We're going to show what you got on the X right now.
Yeah, so hanging out with my dad over the weekend. Umberto's, man, on Culebra Road. That's some good Italian food right there, man.
So how is the little
those are my $2 on the bottom left.
I'm wondering. There you go. How is the Little Red Barn?
It's nostalgic. It's not bad.
How is the food? The comida.
It was all right. Chica was laughing about the fact that when it came to her ordering food, Chica eats like a bird, man. She doesn't eat much of anything. She's little portions. And she eats all day, but little portions of what she does, right? So if you're going to ask her to eat a steak, she won't do it. Like, she'll eat like 2 or 3 pieces of steak, but she doesn't like a full-on steak.
Yeah.
So we go over there. She ordered green beans and a loaded baked potato. So they gave her the green beans. Inside the green beans was like a chopped up pork chop in there, like big chunks of pork chop. And she goes, "You're gonna eat meat." She's like, "I'm telling Little Red Bar, I'm going vegetarian today." She's like F that, you're gonna eat meat. It was so funny. She was like, why is there meat inside of it? And it wasn't like little things of meat. It was like big old cubes of pork chop in there.
Damn.
No, but Chica and I get along very, very, very well. That was her selfie to me yesterday. Yay, Chica.
There you go.
So very cool. Very cool. Mike took the mom to the airport by himself. Is there a tall tale? Not only did I take her to the airport myself, I picked her up at 4 a.m, took her to breakfast, then took her to the airport. That was last Thursday, before Thursday's show.
As we start bringing the show to a close here, Mike, I was going to show you one more announcement that came out of nowhere, and that is the return of your boy here, man, Joey Chestnut.
Oh yeah,
he's back.
Okay, so apparently he had a feud going on with the people who ran the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. It's not the same without him, Joe. It's not the same. You know. Hopefully this is fireworks. Hopefully this is something that is a big draw. There will be more people at the Joey Chestnut hot dog eating contest over there in Coney Island, New York, that went to Trump's military parade. That was a big old womp womp over the weekend. That was hysterical over the weekend. But Joe, if you had to compete in a eating contest, what's the one thing that you could down more than anybody else?
Oh man, I don't know, dude.
Because eating glizzies, the hot dogs, that's a little much.
You know what? The little hot dogs that are really good, man, that you could probably have a hot dog eating contest or an eating contest with, is that Auntie Anne's. They sell you that little cup of like the little pigs in a blanket. I think they are like the little miniature pretzel with the little tiny weenie in there. There you go,
dude. I've been funny that you mentioned that. Whenever I go to the mall with Chica, she goes straight to the Auntie Anne's and gets through that bucket every time.
That little cup.
She's like, here, this will keep you company for a little while I shop. Don't leave me alone. That's so funny.
You know what's cool is because Auntie Anne's is expensive though, man. If you get like just a little cup of those little weenies or the little cup of the little pretzels, the little pretzel poppers, and a lemonade, it's like almost like $9 or $10.
Yeah,
it's like damn. And if you get 2, like it's just a little thing that you hold on to, you snack, and you get one for Chica, it's gonna set you back like $22 with tax and all, you know.
It's expensive at some of those places, man. Jonathan Pettis says that he can win a chicken McNugget eating contest, no cap. That's what I might be able to go toe to toe with, man. I could nachos for me. Just give me some nachos.
The King Kong nachos from Chacho's, bro.
Except those. That's too much cheese, man. That's gross.
Jeez, man. But your boy Joey Chestnut will be back there. Down
Wesley, I'd win a pizza roll contest.
Pizza roll. Mike could win the Vienna sausage contest. Oh, those are nasty.
Those are gross.
It's almost like that nasty, was it chicken spread or what do they call that? That devil's meat or whatever like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nasty, dude.
Oh, come on, Rafa. Come on. It's down more liters.
Make more money.
Well, you know what? It's so funny because I say make more money, right, Joe? Is that a dick thing to say?
Kind of is, Mike. You say it a lot, dude.
Well, I mean, because Chica and I, we like, she and I talk about like, okay, we want to go on a trip, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, we budgeted out, and then she goes, what do we need to do? She goes, I'll make more money, you make more money. She goes, I'll work 2 extra days at the clinic, or I'll work 2 extra days, cleaning teeth. That'll make me X amount of money. And if you do this, you make a little bit more money, and then it doesn't come out of the budget. So Chica is very much a make more money kind of person as well. She goes, I'll just go clean because she works 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Her full-time job is 4 days a week. She goes, I'll work the 5th day and make more money.
You know what's funny is that I was talking to Jeff about this just today. And I was like, it's funny how Mike never wants to say my saying, you know, and you've told Chica this in front of me, and she just laughs and
The
giggles.
peasants.
The peasants. She laughs. She thinks it's funny. She thinks it's hilarious too. And I'm like, Mike is afraid to say that, but he calls San Antonio a poor city. He says, go make more money. He always talks about flaunting his 1099s and W-2s, but he's afraid to go ahead and say it with your chest out. I ain't sitting with the peasants. And I told Jeff what that was about, and Jeff started laughing too. So I'm like, bro, I said, we're of a certain age already, Jeff. I said, I'm not going to sit out there for 2 to 3 hours baking in the hot sun when you could just pay a little bit more and you go and get a VIP experience where you could go in and you get there early, you get in early, you get to sit down at a private bar, you know, in the VIP area with nice bathrooms and everything. It's a better overall experience.
Yeah.
And I said, it's because we've worked so much already up to this point to where you're able to afford those types of things. I said, I'm not afraid to say it with my chest out, but Mike said he's afraid to say that. The only thing he's afraid to say. And I said, and Chica thinks it's funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm in year 19 of my financial practice. I mean, I started my financial practice up again during COVID, but I've been in finance for 19 years, whether it be through management or I had a practice beforehand that I sold. And I restarted it back in 2021. I don't have to work as hard as I did back in 2010, 2012, man.
Yeah.
Because people know what I do for a living. And people call me. People call me to become clients. It used to be when you first get in the industry, you have to go market yourself and you have to go to events and do seminars and stuff like that. Now, you know, I've got a base of a couple hundred clients that do that give me their money and give me their insurances, and then they refer me out. And they don't leave me. And so I don't have to work 70, 80 hours anymore. You know, I work.
Yeah.
I basically work every day. I do my financial gig from like 8 a.m. to about 9:30, and then I take a lunch, and then I work from like 1 to 7. It's not that bad, but it's cool, man. And if anybody's trying to get into this line of work, I can teach you. I'd be more than happy to mentor anybody wanting to open up their own business, because unlike any other business, if you want to open a restaurant, it costs money. If you want to open up a bar, it costs money. If you want to open up a tire shop, it costs money. If you want to open up a garage, it costs money. Finance is the only thing that all you need is a laptop, dude. All you need is a laptop and a desire to be successful. And my business partner, Joel, who, by the way, as I mentioned, was the business partner who left me, he came back to me. He's texting me right now. We got some business to write today.
Look at Hanover Fist says MJ flies Spirit Airlines without pre-check. He is a peasant.
You know, it's funny that he mentioned that, because there's some things that I value. Chica has been asking me to fly her first class some places, or at least business class. I can't do it, Joe. I can't spend the extra money for that. That just seems like a waste of money.
You're going to be like my friend Raymond, dude. He had me laughing one time. He's like, hey, man, we're going to go to Italy or something like that. Him and his wife. I'm like, oh, man, that's badass, dude. Congrats. I said, so it's a long flight, man. I said, are you flying coach or first class? He goes, oh, hell no. We're flying steerage.
Dude,
Brother had me laughing, man.
Dude, Chica had never flown in her entire life Southwest Airlines.
Oh, that's the V of the airlines, bro. That's the V of the airlines,
Dude,
bro.
She was like, okay, what seat number am I? I'm like, you don't have a seat number. It's you line up in groups.
Like
A1 through 30, B1 through 30, B 31 through 60.
The only thing missing is the ear tag, Mike. Like the
She was like, what the hell is this shit? The thing from Wemby? This was her. This was her line at Southwest Airlines.
What the fuck is this?
And they're making the cow sound like, nah. And I'm like, hey, if we're lucky, we'll sit next to each other, you know? Maybe
maybe I'll save you a seat next to me. Maybe not. That actually happened to me on one flight. It was funny, dude. I remember we were flying Southwest. Think I was we're going to Florida, and there was no place to sit. Like I couldn't sit with my family. So I was just sitting by myself in one row. And then this Latina Mexican mom came in with her kid, and they sat down next to me. And I'm just sitting there, and the lady sitting next to me with her kid. And it's funny, it's weird because my family's like a row behind me. The
Mhm.
wife is there with my daughter and some other stranger, and then my sons are in another row with another stranger. Because that's just how things worked out. It was weird. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just, it's one of those things that you see on the like on Instagram or something. And I'm sitting down there minding my own business, and I'm just watching my little movie on my phone. And the lady starts talking to me in Spanish, right? Just
Mhm.
asking me, hey, how's it going? How's your day or whatever? And I start talking. And that's when the wife was giving me the mean look. Oh, I see you made a new BFF. And I'm like, oh my God. Because that's the same thing that Chica would do, If you just sit down and that happened to you and somebody just like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Oh, you made a new BFF,
Oh well, if it was a female, it ain't gonna
Yeah.
happen, dude. Ain't gonna happen.
Oh my God.
It's funny. The airlines are all different. We're not afraid to take Spirit. I don't mind Spirit. Spirit, gonna be honest with you, not bad. Spirit gets a bad rap, and I understand. There's no frills to it all. I get it, but guess what? It's just travel accommodations to and from. That's all. That's all it is.
Southwest has gotten greedy now. They changed everything nowadays. So now they charge you for your carry-ons and everything.
Yeah. Well, they did. I think they charged beginning in July because I flew last week and I didn't have to. I didn't have to do anything like that.
Yeah, now they got like reserve seating and all this stuff now that they didn't have before. It probably makes things a little bit better, but
Yeah.
it's not like it's funny how you say like Spirit, you told us about the first class in Spirit, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Unlimited snacks, and then you're sitting in the bigger chairs, and then when you weren't in first class and you wanted those snacks, hey, I want to pay for this snack, and they're like, no,
No,
that's only they would have let you have the granola bar.
Peasant. Jonathan C saying, "I just need to get there." That's my mentality.
Yeah.
What's it called? Wesley Perkins says, "Flew our Madison band kids to Hawaii last June, Southwest. Talk about worried. Anywhere seating where random 50-year-old perv could sit next to your kids."
It's funny too. Like when you sit in some of the other airplanes, you don't smell the exhaust. But for Southwest, for some reason, when they start cranking up the airplane to take off, when you're going to fly off the tarmac, you get all the exhaust coming in the damn cabin, bro. And you're doing your best not to cough. You can smell it, And like I go to another airline that's not Southwest, and I'll pay for a better seat. I don't smell that damn exhaust.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is this, man?
The-
Southwest is it's gross, bro. You can tell they don't clean those damn seats.
One of the worst plane experiences I had, Joe, was you talk about the smoke and smelling it.
Yeah.
I'm looking out my window, and it was like they call them puddle jumpers. It's like a 30-minute flight, 40-minute flight. And this was when I was working freelance as a documentary guy, like a documentary writer. And they would fly me, these companies would fly me from place to place. And it was somewhere in the Midwest, like Iowa, Ohio, somewhere around there, right? These small little towns. I think I was flying to Des Moines. And they would turn on the propellers, but the propellers weren't turned on, I don't know, by button. They had these guys on these big ass ladders going,
oh hell no, dude! I'd jump off of that damn plane.
and then it would go, brrr, 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 and that flight, I was like, oh my god, dude, this is how Richie Valens died.
You know what? This is something that's a thing too on Southwest. I hate flying, and there is brutal BO from some people. Cochinos, you know what? No, man. There was this one time, I don't know where they were from. I think they were from either Spain or Argentina, right? Nice couple, with the kid and everything. And I forgot that I think it was Argentina or it was Spain. There was a certain time of the year where they eat this delicacy, right? At a certain time of the year there. It's a tradition. And it's like a fish dish, like raw fish, like sardines.
Yeah.
And it's mixed in this sauce that's like really spicy. Oh my God. The lady opened this little container, right? Like Tupperware.
Yeah.
And she was feeding this stuff to the baby, dude. It smelled so bad, bro. It smelled so bad. There were people in the aisle behind me and like next to me, and somebody was like, burp. They had to complain, and somebody told the stewardess, "Can you please tell this lady to close that? It like smelled so bad, dude. Like the other half of the plane where we were all sitting, everybody was like, oh man, couldn't stand it, dude. Can you imagine the way tuna fish smells, or even opening a can of like sardines or something? Can you imagine doing that in a plane? Gross, man.
Dude, I tell you about that one flight that I took earlier this year where at my business trip to Charlotte, and I'm a big dude. I wear XL shirts. Sitting down, guy next to me probably weighed 500 pounds.
Damn.
Other guy next to me probably weighed about 400 pounds, and I was just there.
You were the sardine in the middle.
But I literally had to go like this because both of their guts had to go behind me. The back of my chair was not actual cushion. Literally was their panza fat. But I told her, I said I felt safe because if the plane went down, man, I had bubble wrap around me, dude. These two big dudes around me.
Oh,
but
man.
no, dude, that was so gross.
You know what's funny,
and I got stopped by TSA again, Joe.
Of course they did.
I've been felt up by TSA in my lifetime 20 times. For some reason, my crotch goes off. The box around my crotch goes off every single time. At this point, Joe, I don't even like. They were like, "Sir, the first few times we can go someplace discreet, private." I just spread my legs and I'm like, feel around. And Chica just like, she laughed the first few times, but now she just walks like she doesn't even know me.
She looks back. Oh God, I'm out.
Yeah, she's like, yeah. She goes like 50 yards in front, and then I have to go catch up to her.
She's
Brutal.
Like, not again, man. You know what's funny though? When you get back, you further and further back of the plane. Isn't it funny how the aisle gets smaller and smaller, right? Like the seats, they get closer and closer together so they can try to stack more people besides each other, dude. It's insane, man. I noticed that on Southwest, and I forgot what other airline we were on that did that too. The further back you go, the aisle gets tinier and tinier, and everybody's walking sideways like this, and they're like, sorry. It's awful.
TexMex Frank, TSA throbs when Mike goes through metal detectors.
Probably, dude.
Jonathan C., it's not gay if it's TSA. Dude, sometimes it's ladies doing it, man. That's when it gets a little bit weird. We're doing the back of the hand across your penis, sir. And then SR 2001, their panza was your lumbar support.
That's funny, dude. Can you imagine if you get stopped by the dogs? That's the one thing that I'm always looking at, because they have the dogs walking around. And one time I just put my backpack down on the ground and I had nothing in it but clothes, and a charger from my phone. That was it. And the dog came and he just looks at me and he sniffs around my bag and he just keeps going around about his business. He didn't even stop there. And the officer's like, "Can you open your bag, sir?" I'm like, "Sure. There's nothing in there but clothes." He's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, the dog didn't even go off. He's like sniffed around and took off. "Can you open your bag?" I'm like, "Okay, but there's nothing in there." Yeah. And I mean, you see the dogs sometimes go nuts with some of these other people, and they don't have nothing in there, but it's embarrassing because they got to take all the stuff out of the bag, because the dog went haywire.
This might be racist, but it's also very complimentary. Okay. Ever watch the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney?
Yeah.
The guy travels for a living. He goes from plane to plane to plane. And in there, he's at the TSA line. And, once you go through the TSA line, you have to then take off your shoes and put your things in the boxes, whatever. And he's looking around. He's talking to Anna Kendrick's character. And he goes, "Where are the Asians at?" "Asians over there. Let's go behind them." And he goes, "Why?" He goes, "The line's faster when Asians are in line." He goes, "They pack lightly. They have slip-on shoes. They know what they're doing at the airport, and they're efficient." And he goes, "That's racist." He goes, "It's not racist. It's just fact." He goes, "You don't want to get behind anybody who has a kid. You don't want to go by anybody who has a stroller because you're going to be in line forever. Once you get past the TSA line and it's time to go through the metal detectors, find the Asians because you'll get through faster."
Isn't that the most stressful part of your whole trip? Isn't that little line, just having to take off your shoes and everything. Put all your stuff in the bin. Keep on moving. Keep the line moving. You're all you're getting yelled at.
And that's why George Clooney's like, go find the Asian family, whether it be from the Orient or whether it be Indian. They know what they're doing. They fly all the time.
Yeah. And there's always some jackass in line that has something in the bag or something that they shouldn't have, a freaking pocket knife or something. You're like, oh, God, man.
Oh my God, Joe. I almost went through TSA. I'm not gonna say it.
Jesus, my.
Let's just say what happens in Jamaica stays in Jamaica, or should stay in Jamaica.
Almost had a little some join you on the plane.
I was going through my pockets. Yeah, like, are your pockets empty,
crap.
sir? Oh shit! Joe, you have to get to work, Joe. We did an hour 50 today.
Yeah, I got to get to work, brother. But it's been fun. It's been fun.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for the super chats and all that stuff. Everyone have a fantastic day today. We'll be back tomorrow again tonight. You've got the Oklahoma City Thunder, Indiana Pacers Game 5. We'll obviously talk about that. And tomorrow we are inch closer to the NBA draft. Kevin Durant. That trade's going to happen this week, Joe. It's going to happen this week. He'll be gone. He'll be gone from Phoenix. But will he come to San Antonio? We shall see. And whether Drew sure likes it or not, we're getting Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper is a Spur, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Everyone have a fantastic day, dude. We'll be back tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.